Thank you for joining us for this edition of David's Question of the Week, presented by NM Fiber Network. As New Mexico's statewide middle mile backbone, we're committed to keeping you informed about the technologies, opportunities, and challenges shaping connectivity. Here's this week's question.
NMFM collaborates with its member companies, number one, first and foremost, by allowing us that interconnectivity to areas where we wouldn't have easily access to. And by easily, I mean if I needed to get a circuit from my member company here in rural New Mexico, we'll just say Dexter, New Mexico. If that bank, for example, needed to connect to their main bank that was officed out of Louisiana, for example, that can get done, but there's a lot more hoops and a lot more logistics that you have to take into account if New Mexico Fiber Network wasn't there to offer that service for my member company. And so in that way, it works very much hand in hand to empower what our member companies are trying to do. When my folks go out there, and this goes for every member company of NMFM, when they're out there trying to sell services, trying to make those valuable connections for our customers, for our anchor institutions, for our first responders, when we're trying to do all of that, they don't go out there as a rural co-op, if you will. They go out there with the access and the empowerment that New Mexico Fiber Network brings to them. So they don't go out there saying, yeah, we can get you over to, Washington, D.C., or we can get you to Virginia. We'll just have to do this. No, they go out there saying, where do you want to go? And it's taken care of. And so it gives us the ability to sell at a much higher weight class, if you will. That's one of the big things. It empowers us that way. Other things that it does. When you're working with a New Mexico state fiber network, there's a lot of possibilities that are opened up. There's a lot of potential for each member company to take advantage of things that we weren't able to take advantage of before. Say, for example, a very quick example. If you're trying to buy, Coke from Coca-Cola, and you're, say, just a small church, you just need X amount of Coke a month from Coca-Cola so that you can provide to your folks there, to your membership. They'll sell to you at one price, but if you group together, say, with all the churches in New Mexico, and now you're buying a significant amount of Coke from Coca-Cola, they're going to give you a different price. That's the example that works for me. That's why I use it. It's the most simple is we're able to leverage New Mexico Fiber Network as the company that it is, as member owners, and take advantage of the logistics, the ease, the pricing, and the power that comes with belonging to New Mexico Fiber Network. Those are two very, very big examples of how that empowers us. Another one is and we're working on that right now, is empowering our member companies while we empower NMFM from a marketing standpoint, from a services standpoint, from an advantage standpoint. Again, if we're presenting ourselves as our sales force, as our marketing force is presenting ourselves as not just of our member company, but our member company and NMFM, we all stand to win from that. Every member company stands to get an advantage from that. They stand to gain something for their membership, for their company. In my case, 𝗧𝗏𝗄, my neighbor's case, PVT, my other neighbor's case, 𝗂𝗏𝗄. They're all able to benefit from NMFM's ability to empower our sales force to do things outside of what they would normally be able to do easily. Add on top of that, the ability to sell internet at a decent price. If I'm buying, thousands of cases from Coca-Cola a month versus 2 or 3, it's a different price. If I'm buying terabytes of bandwidth from the providers a day, it's a different price than if I'm just buying a couple of 100 gig circuits, see? So we're able to empower each other, lift each other up, rising waters lifting all boats. And we're very thankful for the opportunity and the ability to have an NMFM from which we can lift each other up. And it takes the cooperative ethos and multiplies it. It's like it's logical evolution. We went from cooperatives that were put together for our families, for our kids, so that we could bring light, electricity. We could bring dial tone and the services that are enjoyed in the bigger cities into rural America. We're taking that same ethos and evolving it up a notch with Intimate Fiber Network. And so those two things aren't exclusive. They work together. We work together for the benefit of Intimate Fiber Network and of our member companies as well, in the way I just explained.
Connection fuels opportunity. And at NM Fiber Network, we're building the backbone that makes that possible. Thanks for joining us for David's Question of the Week. Till next time, stay connected, stay curious, and for more information, go now to nmfibernetwork.com.